Tell me, my friend, can what comes next transcend the present? We are witnessing the return of natural history. Biology has once again taken center stage. We struggle to stitch back our lives under the shadow of a global pandemic, while typhoons and hurricanes are becoming as commonplace as the afternoon rain. On the other hand, the nation state has become a site of collapsing time. The past is lurking back into the present. We are marching headlong into a majoritarian state that is based on a half-baked idea of civilizational purity. The state has enacted the abduction of myth itself. It spreads false archaeological propaganda. It promises the resurrection of absentee temples. It feeds us empty ideals through social media gurus. Beneath this stupor of distraction, the tentacles of state bureaucracy slither out to revoke fundamental rights from minorities and silence all forms of dissent through police action. Our society is now defined by a series of exclusions and revocations, turning citizens into ghosts who wander in this state of collapsing time. This act of othering by exclusion finds its roots in the historical violence of caste. The strangeness of caste is that, unlike other forms of bigotry that are premised on physical differences of race or gender, caste works on a purely metaphysical system. A mythic belief that there is a cosmic man at the center of the universe. This man is either Manu, Brahma, Vishnu, or Vishwapurusha, depending on which Shastras or WhatsApp forwards you are reading. The body of this cosmic man forms the basis of caste hierarchy. His head gives birth to the higher castes, and his feet give birth to the lowest. The highest are separated from the low in a cosmic division between mind and limb. This division creates a mythological system of oppression that is aimed towards those who find themselves at the bottom or outside this metaphysical hierarchy. They are deemed less than human solely by virtue of their birth and are subjected to indescribable aggressions, all in the service of a fairy tale. In the colonial Raj, diseases were said to be caused by supernatural beings, spirits that arose from the very space of abjection that was forced upon those who found themselves at the bottom of the caste system. We find examples of this in the folklore of Bombay by Reginald Edward Enthoven. He describes how the spread of both cholera and the bubonic plague were thought to be associated with the lower castes. In one account, he describes that an outbreak of a disease would be instantly linked to be caused by lower castes through black magic. In another example, on the origins of cholera, a young boy from a lower caste would walk past the house inhabited by Brahmin students every day. He would hear them reciting the verses of the Vedas. This instilled within him the desire to learn. He concealed his caste identity and traveled to Benares to learn the Vedas, and he soon became a scholar himself. One day, however, his caste was discovered, and he was shamed by the high caste scholars into burning himself to death. At this moment, his ashes rose into the air and transformed into cholera. This parable subverts our view of nature. The anthropocentric world that exists as a resource for the human to conquer and claim is transformed into a supernatural congregation of all that has been excluded from the domain of the human, returning to challenge it with the turbulence of revolution. The persistence of this supposed origin of diseases gave rise to its own twisted inverse as well, one that threatened, however briefly, to upstage the violent metaphysics of caste. It began with a rumor, a secret that spread as fast as the plague itself. The lower castes could negotiate with the disease. They became bhagats, exorcists that could drive away the plague from the bodies of men. They would perform vigorous rituals to frighten the spirit possessing the afflicted, drawing them out with music. Returning to the present, we find ourselves in a strange state of dissections. between the subject and society, between spectre and citizen, and between mind and limb. And the state gets away with this, for it imagines itself to be Sanatan, timeless, absolute, eternal, and unmoving. It takes the shape of the trench, the barricade, the roadblock of endless inertia, a concrete disease that denies even the movement of ambulances during a global pandemic. But fear not, my friend, for not all is lost. The Sufi theologian Al-Ghazali once pronounced that each night Allah creates the universe afresh, for Allah is unconstrained by the burden of following cause with effect. Every quantized instant of time presents Allah with an occasion to create a fresh set of accidents. Al-Ghazali admits that every now and then Allah might recreate the same set of accidents for the sake of regularity. However, this apparent regularity does not necessarily imply causality. An effect may or may not follow the cause. In Bombay, this state of affairs is explained with a time-worn term, aise hai, or it is like that only, an idea that roughly compares to accidentalism, a doctrine that claims any attempt at comprehending the universe devoid of chance is an exercise doomed to fail, for the universe is incomplete without chaos. This doctrine sets the table upon which physicists, theologians, philosophers, astronomers, and politicians gamble for the true shape of the universe. Laplace's all-knowing, all-seeing demon finds no seat at this table, and neither does a god that refuses to play dice. On certain nights, the chips belong to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, a secret rule that holds true in the shadow movements of both spycraft and subatomic particles. The more one knows of your position, the lesser is known of your movement, with the inverse also being true. The uncertainty principle is a game of bait and switch played on the ethereal edge of reality. On other nights, the celestial chaos of the universe takes the shape of the Boltzmann brain, a mind that imagines itself into existence and, by extension, imagines the entire universe. It then imagines itself as an intelligent observer within this complex conjuration, complete with a fictional backstory rife with memories and desire, all held together on mere chance. Every once in a while, the winning hand is held in the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, proposed by Henry Everett II. Incidentally, this interpretation of the world at large holds within itself all the other hands that have been both won and lost simultaneously and in superimposed timelines. In the year 1957, Henry wagered that the ultimate shape of reality is one that seekers of ancient artifacts, lovers, and revolutionaries have known all too well. The universe is the shape of all possibilities. Nothing is ever lost.